Did anybody confirm they weren't? Is Kern drinking? Jeb taking pictures, doing photo shoots.
Hey, why did you bite her?
Who? We're missing those two guys. Hi, Jen. Jenna, I'm sorry.
That's all good. How's it going?
I'm good. Here comes Jeb. We'll wait. Let's give it a couple more minutes. Bob, you got one or 2 minutes to give us, or no?
I'm recording already.
Can you record? Oh, he's recording already. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm recording already. Yeah, I'll be right back. All right, we'll get it going. Bob's on a mission with the 15 other things he's got working on over there. Jenna, thank you so much for joining us. We are
Absolutely. My pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're excited to have you on. We're on week 15 here of the Masters Chatter. I always just kind of go around the room and introduce everyone for the people that are dialing in or checking us out for the first time, and just to give you an idea of who we are. I'll just work my way around the room. We've got Mike Kern out of New York. We've got Jeb Simmons out of Wisconsin, Jen Dieter out of Florida, Justin LaSalle out of New Jersey, Clint, a.k.a. Ralph today, Paddock out of Massachusetts, and Bob Jennings out of California. So just a quick week recap. We've had a number of great guests on over the last 14 weeks. It's always interesting just to hear from our athletes, our Masters athletes that are on our call, giving us training methodology. We talk a lot of smack on the call. We do get serious, and we just try to have a lot of fun and keep it as informal as possible. So, Jen, I had Bob send me just a little bit about yourself. And by all means, this is not at all going to do you any justice, but I'm going to try to do this. I guess you live pretty close to Bob, so not that far away. You guys are good friends. You're in the 40 to 44.
No, with me.
Wait.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I don't know.
Sorry.
Where's Bob live?
My
She
bad.
lives
This is our first. This is our first show.
I'm looking at it. So, Jen, maybe you want to go ahead and do the intro. How about let's do that? I'm going to pass it over to Jen since she knows.
I was just gonna say the same thing, Jen. Jenna, you guys know each other, so Jen, kick us off, so to speak.
Okay, there we go. So Jenna is in the Masters Division, women's 40 to 44. She, her first year at the games, she tore her labrum and rotator cuff during that one rep max snatch, and proceeded to have surgery within a week.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? And
1
then
week
made
to the
it
day,
back.
yeah.
Made it back her very next year to the games, where you finished what place?
I think that year was 13th.
Yep. And then the following year, last year, you finished fourth, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this one would have been your fourth year qualifying to the games with healthy shoulders and all that kind of good stuff now. She has 2 kids. She homeschools her kids, which is pretty amazing. And let's see, what else? Your background.
I get to come over and train with you every now and then.
Yes. She's like 2.5 hours away.
Yeah.
So we get to train together every once in a while, which is awesome. We do the same programming on a regular basis, which is really fun to kind of compare notes and that sort of thing as well. And she's quite a marksman as well. Quite the hunter as a hobby. What else? Your background is in all kinds of sports and activities. When I first met her about 20 years ago, she was a Pilates instructor. And then I think you have a pretty strong background in cycling as well, right?
A little bit. My brother's a big cyclist, and I tried to jump in on that for a little while, and then had kids, and had to leave the road a little bit. And,
all that good stuff. She's a box owner, or gym owner, in Tallahassee, Florida. She and her husband, and they also own a physical therapy company that's inside the gym there as well.
So my husband's a physical therapist, and he used to work with Jen when we both lived in Jacksonville. So how I know Jen and how I kind of got in with them.
Yep.
Yeah, Jenna, go through that a little bit though. You're like how you kind of got into CrossFit, and how you kind of got into the competitive aspect, because going off of what Jen just said, you went ahead and took 13th and then 4th but you're getting older in the bracket, so obviously
Right.
it's getting harder for you, you know?
Well, actually, last year was my first year in the 40 to 45.
Oh, okay.
So,
You were in 35
yeah.
before that.
I was in the 35 to 39 before that. So yeah, the year before when I came in 13th, that was the year with Sam and Anna, and yeah, I was just really happy just to be there. But yeah, so I guess I got started 2013 was a big year for me, and literally saw the games on TV and made up my mind that that's what I wanted to do. And so literally walked into a box the next week, and the coach is kind of sizing me up, figuring out, what are your intentions? And I said, I want to go to the games. And he kind of laughed. Like the whole class literally laughed. He's like, yeah, don't we all? I was like, all right, challenge. Cool, accepted. So that was literally my mission from day one, was to make it to the games. And I think I was in it for, well, it was that summer, I think. No, it was the next year, I think, that I saw Jen either at regionals or the games. And I was like, wait a second, what are you doing and who's your coach? Because at that point I'd gotten to where I'd outgrown my coach here, and I needed something further. I needed something to kind of take me above and beyond. And so she told me about her coach and that he was actually starting to get into some satellite coaching and programming, and said, cool, let me try it out. And so that was, I think, October of 2015. And then so 2016, I actually made it to regionals. I was, as I call it, I kind of snuck in the back door. I was one that after a couple people went out teams, then, I was given an invite at the last minute. Like literally, I hadn't been training for about 2 weeks and kind of taken some time off, and got the invite and was like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. So went to regionals that year. That was the year that they had the strict muscle ups. And snatches for me, because of my shoulder, I had injured my shoulder years before. I already knew I had a torn labrum. And my husband had told me prior, he's like, you can't do CrossFit. Like, it just, with your shoulder, you're not going to be able to do those movements. I'm a little stubborn, a little hard-headed. And I was like, cool, I'm going to do it. And so jumped in, and so again, snatch has always been my weakness. And on day one at regionals, those were the two things. That was the year they had a minimum work capacity. You had to be able to hit the first snatch, and I knew that was going to be a challenge for me. But if I could do that, like the week before, we had gone through that strict muscle up workout over at Jen's gym, and I knew I was going to make it through that. So I was like, cool, got this. Get on the floor, like literally you could not have knocked that smile off my face. I was so excited. It was just, it was everything I imagined it to be. And I hit the snatch. I was ecstatic. I knew the rest of the weekend was going to be mine. It was going to be fun. So I went into that next muscle up workout that day, and remember jumping up, doing my first muscle up, came down, and my judge said, no rep. I was like, okay, what did I do? She said, well, your legs went up faster than the rest of your body. Okay. I jump up, I do another one, and she said something, you can't choke up before you extend your arms. Okay. And I mean, literally, like, it was just one thing after the other. I think I'd probably done, and you only have so many strict muscle ups in you to begin with. And it was that 20-minute cap. And I think literally at the end of the 20 minutes, and I mean, everybody's yelling and screaming, and the camera person actually goes over to my coach, is like, what's going on? Why is she not moving on? Because I'd done so many muscle ups at this point. And my coach, like, I have no idea, and just the judge kept no repping me, and I think that was kind of the problem with the strict muscle up, is it was so subjective. And so at the end of the 20 minutes, I'll never forget, I think she'd given me one muscle up at that point. I'd done at least 15, and it was everything I could do to hold it together just to get off the court, and just before I lost it. And so that was a huge changing moment for me. I was livid. I was crushed. I was destroyed. Like the rest of the weekend, that was supposed to be my jam. That was going to be fun, and I'd put so much into it to get there and get kicked out on day one. And so, like I said, that just really developed me. That changed me. I went into the gym each day after that with like a huge fire under me of, it's never going to happen to me again. Like, I will not be in that position that I can't do a movement again. And so I truly attribute that to getting me to the games the next year, because it was that year that they actually announced the 35 to 39-year-old category. I didn't even have plans to get to the games for like another 2 years. thinking I was just chilling out as masters, you know, and I wanted to get back to regionals. And so it was 2017. I made it to the games, and I remember just walking around like on cloud nine, just, you know, it didn't really matter. I made it my goal. That was my goal. I got there. And like Jen said, so day one was we had the run, swim, run, and went in for the 1 rep max snatch. And I think I'd warmed up backstage, you know, like to 150, 155 or something like that. We knew my shoulder had already been giving me a lot of problems working up to the games. It had been on the struggle bus. I think just from adding the swimming to my programming and just all the additional training that I put in going to the games. And I think I probably started at 125. I hit 135, and I put 145 on the bar. And when I took it overhead, I literally dropped to the ground screaming. And when I got up, my shoulder literally sat, you know, a good 2 inches below where it should have been. And I dislocated my shoulder. And so I kind of thought, you got to be freaking kidding me. Like day one, again, here we are, you know, day one at regionals, I got kicked out. Day one at the games, I'm getting kicked out again. And so that was my year at the games. And it was heartbreaking. It was crushing for me. And I really was done with competing. I mean, I remember saying, dude, I'm out. I don't want to do this anymore. This is terrible. And when I got back to my boys a couple hours later, you know, and I will tell you, if you have ever been injured with CrossFit, I cannot say enough about CrossFit and how they took care of me. Literally, they had a shoulder specialist as soon as they got me out of our little master's area. As soon as they got me out, there was a shoulder specialist waiting. They got it put back in place, took me back to the medic area where they did x-rays and everything. Doctor called me the next week. I mean, they just followed up and just took amazing care. Like, I was really impressed at how well CrossFit handled that. But literally, so I guess about 2 hours later when I ran into my little boys again, you know, they came up to me, gave me hugs and stuff and said, Mom, it's okay. You'll be back. And I'm like, what? And they said, yeah, you'll be back next year. I'm like, no. They're like, yeah, Mom, believe you can do it. And so literally started getting on the phone, and Jen, you know, being a physical therapist in Jacksonville, had some great connections and got me hooked up to, I think it was a Thursday that I got injured, and literally they had me set up for a pre-op on the next Thursday. Went in for surgery on Friday, and I was like the one-arm wonder. Literally, I was back in the gym that Monday, and you know, I was talking to somebody who's about to go through the same thing today, and literally, I just kind of looked at programming every day. Every day, I'd look at Lance's program, being like, okay, what can I do with 2 legs and 1 arm? And I would do it, you know, and make it. I did 1-arm burpees really well. I could row 1-armed really well, and just that was my driving force, was getting back to the games, because I knew that's what my boys wanted. And so did it and qualified. I think I ended up, I forget what it was, 18th out of the opens that year. And like I said, that was the year that Briggs was in our category. And so it was just super fun. I remember getting there that year, and that was just like, I was there to compete. Like I you know, and I'm this has been very much a spiritual journey for me. And I said, God, I know my goal the first year was just to get there. And said, I'm going to be a little bit more specific. Please let me make it through the games this year. And so that was my goal, was just to really compete the whole weekend and have fun. And it was a blast. I loved it. And so I felt like coming out of that, I was almost sort of ready to take a break, but then I was entering the new bracket and got in there. And, you know, like last year was the first year I felt like I really belonged there. Like I competed, like I was up there, I was finishing towards the top, and it was just a great year. And, you know, so CrossFit's been a crazy, crazy journey for me, but it's been awesome. I love every minute of it. And yeah, that's kind of my story in a nutshell.
Yeah, Jeb, you know, you had an injury, you know, you got it taken care of. You know, you can, you know, I haven't went through a serious injury like not having a use of an arm or a leg for a portion of time. You know, Jeb, I'm just wondering, it's a similar story, you know, like, you know, you maybe thought you saw what everybody else was doing and you were falling behind in a sense, you know. you'll talk about that rehab process you went through, because Jenna's probably just the same.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like, yeah, you hit it on the head. Like, you think you're falling way behind, that you're going to forget how to snatch. You're going to forget how to, all the movements that like, I obviously didn't grow up doing that stuff. So I learned it once I started CrossFit. And yeah, it was a huge, huge deal. But for me, like, my physical therapist is a good friend of mine, and he didn't trust me. So he literally didn't let me do anything for probably 3 or 4 months. Like, he wouldn't let me even ride the assault bike. Like, he comes to my gym and he was like, if I obviously A, catch you doing anything, or B, hear you doing anything, from someone else, we're done, and I wanted him to be my physical therapist because obviously, we're friends, and he knows what I was trying to get towards. But, so yeah, like, I did the qualifiers, and then I didn't make it. And I knew before going in that my shoulder was already messed up. So I literally kind of same thing. Like, I did the qualifiers, knew I didn't make it, and then scheduled my surgery and just started, the process. I just looked at the process as getting back to better as fast as, the faster I could get in and get going. But yeah, and then I ended up going to Wadapalooza that year because I had won the year before, so I didn't have to do the qualifiers to get there. And I literally didn't tell anybody I was going except my family, and went down there just to have fun and to see where I was at. And it went really good. I was behind on a few things, but I don't know. And then I ended up making it to the games after that or whatever. But it's a tough, and I'm sure Jenna, you probably experienced, like, it's one of the hardest things to do, like, for me to go into the gym and look at a workout that that you were able to crush at one time, and now you can't do any of it. And you see, like, I was still keeping in touch with you guys, and everybody's getting better, and everybody's doing this, that, and this, and PRing, and here I am just, so it was good. And it was a good learning experience to know that if you get injured, like, taking the time to rehab yourself properly and doing everything right, like, it'll come back. It comes back faster than you think, but mentally it's pretty tough. So
yeah, that's the key. It's mental, and I actually think it's, it's an what's the word I'm looking for? It's a condition of what really good athletes are, is that they don't let that stumble ruin it for them, all right? It's a motivator, or it's something that you just put your head down and get through it, and get done with it, Yeah, I think that's that's other. I actually think too, when you have an injury that, I think it makes you a better coach. Jenna, you're a box owner too as well. When you don't have your arm and you have someone coming in who's got a shoulder issue, and you could show them, like, hey man, you can get on the bike, you can get one arm row, you can do dumbbell snatch and do these things. Jenna, as being a box owner, you think it made you a better coach going through the injury?
Absolutely. Yeah, I had a girl about 2 weeks ago go through some shoulder surgery, and I caught word through another coach and said, oh yeah, she said she's going to be in the next day to work out. I sat her down and I said, I know you feel like you need to be here to prove to yourself that you're okay. I said, but I don't want to see you in here for at least 3 days. Like, your body needs to rest and recover. And I was like, trust me, I know where you're at. And she's like, yeah, coming from you, I appreciate that. And, because, she knew exactly. I wasn't telling her, yes, it's made it a lot easier for me to talk to patients, and that too, and the fact that, I realized, like, I had to get creative. I was still doing rope climbs, and the cool thing is, like I said, with my husband being a physical therapist, he has all sorts of fun toys at his place, and this, rope set up that I could pull one-armed, and, so it was, you just have to be creative sometimes. And that's what I would do is, I was telling this guy who's about to go through the same surgery, I'm like, I'd wrap my arm with a towel so the sling wouldn't get sweaty, and, I'd do all this, and, I could still row. I rowed one-armed, and
faster than me with 2 arms. True.
Yeah, I had
I ran into a guy a couple months ago and, introduced myself. He goes, "Oh yeah, I remember you." And I was like, "What do you mean you remember me?" He goes, "Oh, back at the other gym, you like when I first started, you sat down on a rower next to me and you had one arm in a sling and you rode faster than me." I was like, "Oh, sorry about that."
Steve, go ahead. You were going to say something?
I was just going to say, for me and coaching athletes now, I had the same surgery. I had labrum and a torn rotator cuff, and I had it fixed shortly after the games in 17, and actually had my best year ever going into 18. So for me, I still don't know how people have surgery when they're not in shape, because for the first couple weeks of rolling around on that shoulder, trying to do things with one arm, going in shape, was helpful, and it helped me a ton. So the advice I give some of the athletes or people I coach in general, like, go into surgery in the best shape of your life, because you're gonna work harder over the next couple of weeks just to get yourself out of bed than you ever expected. But I was like you, Jenna. I mean, I was being as creative as possible immediately. Jed tried to warn me. He's like, take it easy. I took a lot of time off, and I was doing set up 2 boxes. You got a kettlebell between your legs. You're doing squats with the sling on, assault bike, whatever I could possibly do. I was getting in, and it worked. I mean, I think it gave my body some rest too, and which is why I had a really strong 2018.
Yeah, it was great. So at the games that year, right after I got injured, we were walking around, and in the Rogue building, my husband saw the safety squat bar, which is, it's like this real long bar, and it's got the 2 handles that come forward. And so he went ahead, and I think the day after I got injured, he ordered it. And so it arrived the next week. And I think that was the coolest part. Was I talked to my coach Lance about it, and he set me up on a squat program. And so literally I would squat every other day. It was like a 5x5 plus 5. And that just, for me mentally, it gave me something to focus on, something that I could still be proud of, because like I remember as I kept getting higher and higher with my 5x5, I was like, this is really cool. Like I ended up adding, I think, like 20 pounds onto my PR, while my arm was in a sling. And it just kind of, if you can still find something to focus on, I think that was the big thing for me, was just still knowing that I was progressing in some way.
I ask all you guys this. I mean, that had an injury like that. Is it like kind of learning it all over again in a sense, like, hey, 135 on snatch, and you're like, all right, and then
you get PR all over again.
You know what I'm saying? You start to re-PR. I mean, as an athlete and a gym owner and a coach, like I try to do that all the time with my athletes. I try to tell them, like, not, and I told you so, but hey, I've lived that experience, think about it this way in a sense. But when you are going through relearning it, you almost have like a second chance to correct some of the things that you kind of messed
Absolutely.
up, and, like, did you guys find that as being one of the things that you were just, I mean, maybe it was because you were nervous about certain things, like, hey, is it going to hold up? I mean, I would just think, like, is this the one it's going to happen on, again, that's part of the mental part of it, but, maybe talk about that, like how it was like how you approached the relearning of some of these exercises.
I mean, for me, it was just, be patient with the injury. I think, like Jenna just said, she was hitting PR back squats, throughout, having a bump shoulder. So for me, it gave me time to focus on some of those things that maybe I wasn't so strong at, and it gave my shoulder time to rest and heal. I mean, I knew going in, it was going to take some time to get my snatching back. Anything overhead, I was going with those wider grip jerks just so it could feel comfortable. And then it was just baby steps based on feel. If it didn't hurt, I pushed it a little bit more. And then, a year into it, it just felt normal again. It's funny because my surgically repaired shoulder is a hell of a lot better now than my non-surgically repaired shoulder. So go figure.
Yeah. Mine too. I would say one of the biggest things for me, Justin, is, like you get to, like, when you hit your first muscle up again and it holds together, and, and you're right, like you hit 135 and it's like, oh, okay, that felt good. And then so you go through all that. But I would say for me, like the biggest thing was learning that rest was okay. Like Steve had said, like back before my surgery, I never missed a day of working out. It was always, 120% all out. Didn't matter how my body felt. I was going for it, And then I think, the following year at Wadapalooza, I took second, I believe, and then I qualified for the games. I think for me, it was realizing that, I can rest and still do this and be good enough. You know what I mean? And that was huge for me. Like, it was so hard. And I think the reason I didn't make it the first year when I turned 40 was because I was overtraining. You know what I mean? And I was forced to stop and listen to my body and rest. And so I would say overall, that was probably the biggest thing I learned. Like, rest is okay. And that's what I tell people now, like my master's athletes, like, it's okay to rest, or, just I call it have a feel good day. Like, you just go in there, you move, you go out feeling good about, yourself, and your body feels good. And then you come back the next day and ready to hit it, So I would say that would be one of the biggest things I learned.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about the mental aspect of it. I know for me, it wasn't the snatch that injured my shoulder. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. But I mean, Jen can tell you, man, what a head game. I was a serious head case when it came to snatching. And even as I got stronger, I could build up. But as soon as I saw 145 on the bar, it was like, shut down, done, like, can't. And it would get to where, like, I couldn't allow myself to add the weight up. And as long as I did that, then I was able to break past that barrier. And that was the thing is, in, what was it, last year? So we start out, what was it, snatch?
I was just about to say this. Yeah.
Another snatch, no, so that was 2018. So it
double under.
Literally day one is another stinking snatch ladder. And so, they line us up to run out. Holy cow, they lined me up in the very same lane as I'd gone down in. And I just remember thinking, my husband and coach were saying, oh my gosh, they were both about just to like throw up, had knots in their stomach. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. Like, this, okay, this is it. And that was the coolest thing, because I remember, I think I hit 155 on that snatch ladder. And for me, that was like one of the proudest, like, crowning moments for me. And I walked back in my gym after that, and it was like I could breathe again. I could look at snatches and be like, you know what? I'm okay. Like, you got nothing on me anymore. And that was just that. It literally, it took a year. And I still, like, even today I was snatching. I'm like, oh, 145. Here it is. I snatch it, but it's just still like, that's going to forever, that number will be in my head. So
Yeah, Jenna, last year, 4th place. I mean, is the motivation now? Are the kids like podium? I mean, are you making a run at it? I mean, like,
dude, 4th is like the worst place ever.
Second's pretty bad. So.
Terrible. Like, you get nothing for 4th. Like, close, but no, sorry.
Been there.
Right? I mean,
how close? Like, how close were you? I mean,
I was going into the last day. I was in 3rd.
Okay, so you were going in, but that last workout was 3.
Yeah, that last workout was 3. I screwed up on that overhead squat. Being in the turf was just, I don't know, it was bad. And so I lost it. And so I don't know, honestly, I was already kind of planning on sitting out this year. My boys are 10 and 12 right now, and they're both getting big into their own things. One of them's a gymnast, one of them's a golfer, and I don't know where my head is moving forward. Like, I love competing. I love CrossFit. I haven't slowed down at all. I still do, my programming every day or whatnot. And it's if anything, these last few months have taught us, like, things can change in the, toss of a dime. So I guess looking back, so, that was a really interesting question. So 4th place really bugged me. Like, I was peeved about 4th place. And in the aftermath, it really upset me that I was so upset about it. Cause I'm like, you're freaking 4th in the world and you're going to be unhappy about it. Right. And so for me, I had to do a little heart check with that of like, really, what is this about? And I knew how much effort I'd put in to get to be 4th place. Was it really worth how much more I would have to put in to go back and try and win.
And
First, second, or third.
sacrifices, you have children that are at
Exactly.
at a important, I mean, I guess they're all important ages. I don't have any kids,
Right.
but for you guys that made that mistake, God bless you. No, but I would imagine, and the reason why is, I joke with people, I don't want to have kids because I would take it so seriously that I know it would take away from other things that I really spend a lot of time with and like, and I'm a little selfish in that manner, all right. But you do want to see your kids. I think a lot of people, that's been a big reflection, all right, the fact that they got a chance to spend some time with their kids, maybe too much time, but
Yes.
Mike, do you want to talk about that?
No, yeah.
How that's affected your CrossFit game, when you got kids running around asking you to, do whatever?
Well, I remember my first year. It was the 2016 was my oldest. I guess she turned 7. So I missed her birthday. It was like, she's like, remember that time you missed my 7th birthday, Dad? And I was like, yes, yeah. And then I guess that was in 2016. Then they moved the games to August. I'm like, oh, I won't miss your, whatever. And then, the kids, I can relate to that. And I'm getting older. I was towards the back end of the division, so I was thinking of kind of like throttling it down a little bit for the back 2 years, with the understanding that, okay, Dad's spending time with you now, but I'm going to try to throttle it back up for 45. So they know the deal, hopefully, for next summer. We'll see. But
I missed one of my kids' birthdays at the games too. He still mentions it every once in a while.
yeah,
Just like
every year.
slides it in there.
It's one day,
It's not like I call her.
I miss my oldest daughter's high school graduation to go to Grid League tryouts.
You're just a bad dad. That's just a bad dad.
Where I met you.
Yeah.
See, it was worth it though, Jeb.
That's what I tell her. I was like, I met Justin. Like, it was so worth it. But and I still hear about it. That was like 5 years ago or whatever. So definitely comes up from time to time. But
But I'll give you guys the counter to that, though, right? So, my kids, they've come to see Wadapalooza, they've been to the games, right? Like, it's really cool. Like, their dad, not to toot my own horn, is kind of a badass, right? Just like all the rest of you guys are, and that's pretty cool for them.
That's the coolest thing to hear your son say that, Mommy, I'm so proud of you. Like, there's so many moms out there that can say that, and and that's just. For me, they've been my biggest cheerleaders all along, and I love that. And this last year at Wadapalooza, both of them had activities. My son had a gymnastics meet that he had to go to. I know he missed that meet. My other one had another meet that he had to go to, and so it was kind of like a checking point for me of like, wow, they're kind of getting, I don't want to miss their stuff, and I love having them with me. And so it definitely it gets hard as they, I don't know, get to be different ages.
Yeah, Jeb, that must have been a pretty cool experience for Harlow when you think about it, because you went to the games and like everybody knew kind of the area rallied around you, and people knew that, or her friends probably knew that you were her dad, that was probably a cool experience for her, I mean, that's.
Honestly, so Jenna, Harlow is my youngest. She's 11. All my kids love what I do. Like, just so you know, like, I just didn't decide to miss my kids' high school graduation. Like, I coached my older girls in soccer, basketball, and volleyball from 2nd grade all the way through their senior year of high school. And I never missed a fucking game once, right? Like, so I put everything aside to coach them. My son is younger. He doesn't play any sports. So the girls knew, like, when I started this and I started competing, like, they knew how competitive I was before, because they're as competitive as I am. So it wasn't like I just decided I'm not going, so they understood it. Does my oldest, throw it in there once in a while? Yeah. But my youngest, Harlow, like, she grew up, she was like 2 when we opened the gym. And so she's growing up in the CrossFit world. And she loves everything about it. And so, yeah, Justin, like, when she gets to see me compete, like, she's 11 and her dreams are going, she has dreams of going to the CrossFit Games. Like that's what she wants to do when she grows up. And that hasn't changed in, 5 or 6 years. I mean, she does the open with us, she does it all. This year when they canceled the games, that's why I think it was so hard for me, because she loves it so much that she was bummed, as bummed as I was. And I told her, and these guys all know, I mean, she made me a CrossFit Games sign that she hung on the wall. She made me a #1 medal, and she made me stand up on her podium and took a picture. Like that. I know if you went there this year, you would have kicked Justin's ass and took first place. and I was like, and so it means as much to her, that I make it, and it's just like you said, my older kids are older now. They're off in their own, they have their own place or whatever. But as a family, like you go through that whole thing together. My wife is my nutritionist, so she's cooking for me. She's sacrificing, we plan vacations around working out. And so Harlow's been a part of that. So yeah, I mean, Justin, you say that, but about not having kids, but coming off that games floor or even being on the floor, and she always lines up at the end, and there is nothing better to see your kids at the end down there smiling and cheering you on, and they don't give a shit what place you come in. You know what I mean? You come off that floor, and I get the biggest hugs from all of them. It's the greatest feeling in the world. So
You're like a superhero, to them. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think my boys laugh at that. Yeah, they finally gotten used to people being like, "Dude, is that your mom?" My oldest was laughing. I went to pick him up at golf the other day, and it was raining, so he's sitting out on the porch, but had to, I guess, walk back through the restaurant or the bar. He's like, "Mom." The guy, when I walked through, was like, "Yeah, she could bench you. Like, she could bench press you probably." Like, he just thought it was so comical. They're sitting there talking about me as I'm walking by.
Yeah.
My kids still kind of roll their eyes at a lot of the stuff, but all of their friends, most of their friends call me by my Instagram name instead of like any kind of proper name. They just call me Jen Smash. So it's kind of funny, in that respect. But one of my kids this summer has started working out with me, which has been a lot of fun, because normally they kind of do their own thing. So, but it is the kids part is good stuff.
For me, I'm like, you want your dad to look like that guy, or do you want your dad to look like I look? That's the Jersey, New York in me. And they're like, "No, keep doing what you're doing, Dad. Just
good."
But motivation to stay healthy.
Right.
Well, Bob, what's going on with Legends?
Good stuff, man. So we just started announcing all the sponsors that are jumping on board. So we announced 3 last week. We're going to be announcing another 3, I think, this week as well.
It must be good because you can't contain your smile right now.
Yeah.
How many? Did you get a lot of signups for the qualifier?
The qualifier will end up with about 1,000 people for the qualifier.
Wow.
Jeez.
What is that, Bob? What is that? Give us a little bit of numbers from that standpoint. What does that shake out division-wise? Is it heavy loaded 30s? Obviously it's going to dip a little bit when you get to certain age brackets,
Yeah.
Go through that real quick.
It's kind of interesting, man. So, like right now, I have just about as many guys in the 35 to 39 men as I do in like the 55 to 59 men. Like, so all the divisions are pretty well loaded. The biggest difference really comes this early between men and women. So men tend to sign up more early. And then when you have the rush, once the workouts are released, then the women start to catch up. The women are always less than the men from the number of athletes that are trying to qualify. But it's something about the workouts being released. I think it's,
they're hedging their bet.
They're worried about ring muscle ups. They're worried about strict handstand push-ups, right?
They're always late. Fashionably late.
like Jen and Jenna and like athletes like that, like they don't like, you guys could care less what was there, right? And you guys don't need to qualify anyway because you already did. But the whole athlete, that's fringe, maybe gonna make it, maybe not gonna make it. They're gonna have some hole in their games, right? And they don't really want to sign up for something if I throw out a workout that starts with 30 ring muscle ups. I would never program that though.
I mean, what does the qualifier cost? Kern, what did you pay? Assuming Bob didn't give you any type of
no discount. What was it, $10? $10, something like that? I don't know.
$10. Okay, there.
$25, man.
25
bucks? Oh, shit. Don't tell my wife.
Yeah, the big news I'm just dying to announce is going to be the title sponsor, and that's coming up soon.
What do we got? 3 viewers? Come on, let us in on this.
Yeah, right.
I'm not going to risk it, man, but just got to dot some I's, cross some T's. It'll be good.
Masters chatter.
Awesome.
They throw in their money.
Yeah, honestly, but at this point, we should just promote. I mean, we should just be the the voice of the Legends competition. And even worst case, I think we should do some updates up there. Just meet a bunch of people that we don't know. That Clint says we have lots of fans out there, so people are watching our episodes. Obviously, once we get bigger names like well, I'm saying when we get big names like Castro and stuff like that, that always helps out the fun. But and quite frankly, I like to do it just for fun. I look forward to these, because I get to see you guys and see what you're up to. I mean, Clint follows the pro, and Bob now too is kind of doing the same program. So at least I get the little banter back and forth with Clint. And
well, you guys are all in the same program,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got tired of these guys beating my ass all the time. So.
What happened?
Bob jumped in.
Is that why all of you don't go below parallel when you squat? Is that what's going on?
Listen, you know what? Listen,
Close enough. It's
Jenna,
fine. It's fine.
Jenna,
Yes.
The same thing your coach said, I don't know what's wrong with your muscle ups, is the same reason why, first off, all right, to throw Jen's coach under the bus, quite frankly, okay, all right, setting up the setup on handstand walk, I mean, how do you really get a good look at it? So I have to put the camera high up on top of the box.
I had mine on the floor.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'm making excuses.
Okay, I did video. I just had a good time doing it.
Deeper than you are.
Listen. I'm well below parallel. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, haters are gonna hate. My reps are good. I've never been penalized. Only burpees I've been penalized on, and that's for the takeoff, not for any other part. All right, and I will continue to defend myself, quite frankly.
Good, man.
Jenna, let me put this to rest here, because Clint doesn't think Ralph in the top corner. Oh, I don't know where he is on your screen. Do you think masters out there are actually listening to these shows? Okay, or do they give it a good 5 minutes? All right. I mean, like, before we asked you to come on, did you see any of our other episodes?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm just wondering,
Yeah.
I feel like she's lying.
No, I'm not. So I saw Jen posted the one, I guess the first one that she did with Castro, and I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting. So I listened to that, and then
because of me, though, right?
Yeah.
Not because of
Well,
Castro.
who cares why?
Because you guys,
Yes.
I totally didn't even get like
kinda wanna know
my
why.
swan song, the first episode or anything. They put me on with Castro, so I never even got like an episode to myself. But whatever, it's all good.
Oh, see, now it comes out now. We didn't give her an episode.
Your episode was last week. That was your episode.
Okay,
I
fine.
guess.
But the one that Bob hasn't uploaded yet.
No, I uploaded it.
You didn't send me the link.
I did too send you the link. I sent it to all of us.
You're drinking again, Bob. You're celebrating these title sponsors when you need to be uploading these videos, man.
Well, I got to see who I sent that to, man.
Yeah, you did. You might have to check. Well, resend it, and then we'll upload this. Look,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll try and get a better situation for this kind of thing. But, Jenna, thank you, because that stuff is good to hear. It's good to hear. We get messages. I mean, you guys that have access to the Instagram now, you'll see people put messages up there, and it's always cool to kind of hear, and to really, I mean, I think this is a really exciting time for CrossFit, quite frankly. I think, a lot of our dreams kind of, have are kind of, everything is back on the table, I should say. It's not like you're not getting coverage, and it's not, and you're like, I guess when you raise kids and everything is no, there's actually a few more things kind of thrown back onto our table, maybe to take advantage of, like regionals maybe, okay, or sanctionals that get you buy-ins to events and things like that. So I think it's an exciting time. Real quick, Steve, before we end anything, just stand up real quick and make a representation of the shirt you have on. Thank you. Appreciate
Oh,
it.
nice.
Steve,
Jeb, I'll wear yours.
send you a shirt. Steve, I'll send you a shirt, buddy.
Never gonna look as good as you look, Jeb, in those photos, man. I don't.
Jeb, was that Facebook thing for real? Is that for real?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I thought it was a joke.
Justin hasn't heard back. He applied. He hasn't heard back.
Did you see these granite
They want
games?
someone that looks better than the old guy.
Yeah. Listen,
They don't want to go the other way.
my days are over.
They sent a photographer to follow me around for a day. It was kind of awkward, to be honest. But
Is it? Yeah. Doesn't it? I mean, you don't even know the guy, right?
yeah,
Is he cool at least?
yeah, he was really cool.
All right.
Yeah, it was that was a while ago. That was over a year ago.
Is he the one that took the picture of you on your Harley?
Yeah.
What about him installing?
Well, he followed me around for the day. I was like, this is what I'm doing today. So he was
Going
like,
to the sauna. Let's go.
Go to the sauna. You got
Hey,
anything
Jenna,
to-
did you do the workout this week?
I did it today.
How'd it go?
How long?
It was good. It was fun. It's just my schedule right now stinks because I have about maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours to work out. So I get my strength and everything in real quick. And then I race out to pick up my son from gymnastics. And I get back. And as masters, dude, can we not agree? Like, it takes forever to get warmed up. And it's like, if I stop and I have to get back again, it's terrible. So anyways, so did all that, came back in. I was like, okay, I have to hit this workout because I told Jen I would do it. So yeah, warmed back up. It took me about, I think, 13 minutes, something like that.
Nice.
Good.
I couldn't
was
agree with you. I couldn't agree with you more. We actually, Bob, I know, did a workout that I did that had like a 10-minute break in between like heavy snatches.
Oh Lord, yeah, I'm done.
And it was just like, I felt myself at the 5-minute mark being like, this is a mistake. This is
Yeah,
such a
snatches are the
mistake,
worst.
you
About
know?
at the games, they corral us like 40 minutes
No,
before we have to go. So
Yeah.
And that was the idea. I get it, and that's always a joke in the corral too as well. Like, awesome, I got all warmed up just to,
Right.
sit here and be cold and stuff, or get on a bus, But yeah, for sure. So workout this week is 100 double unders, 20 strict handstands. I'm just gonna call the box, right? The 24 by 36 hands inside. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right.
Jen, are you okay with that? Is that box big enough for you, Jen?
me,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, just
With
making
this-
sure.
with this wingspan,
Yeah, you'd probably be like this.
yeah, I can, yeah, it's
I
good.
figured that's why it's better than making like a line. That's so stupid anyway, But it's strict pull-ups, strict handstands, 30 chest to bar, 20 strict handstands, 20 bar muscle ups, 100 double unders. So it's bookended. 100
You have that
double
written
unders.
somewhere?
Huh?
You have that
It'll
written
be on
somewhere?
the Instagram.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll post it. I sent it to them guys. But for you guys that want to do it, we got anything else do we need to discuss here at all? I mean, Clint doesn't really talk. I mean, I don't even know if we need to have him on the show anymore. But he's so good looking. It just helps everything out. But no, Jeff. I mean, Clint. Why are you not committed to Legends competition yet? The invite is out there. You are one of the top masters in your division. What are you waiting for?
What am I waiting for? I got a job. I got to work.
Okay. All right. That's your answer. You got a job.
You know what I do.
These
I
guys
got
are
until,
missing.
December to decide, don't I?
These guys. All right. Fair enough. These guys are missing kids' birthdays over here. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Can you pass his invite over?
I think you could miss a day of work. I mean, I really do. You could take a sick.
Who's going to cover for me?
You deal with the dead. They're not going anywhere.
Who's going to cover for me?
I don't know. I don't know. Oh, Bob, you're sending it to me now?
Bob's sending out the YouTube.
Awesome.
Don't you guys remember seeing this? Like, didn't
No.
I send this and Jen made a comment about
Oh yeah, I was like this in the screenshot.
That
yeah,
was
it
just a
screenshot.
photo, wasn't it?
Maybe
This is
that's
the
on.
photo.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah,
I thought we were
sent
just
like a
commenting
creepy-
on
a
Jen's
creepy
No, that was
shot
the
you
link.
took.
That was just like whatever the cover showed up on the
On
link.
the link.
Yeah.
Press button.
Bob, you got to dial us in here with instructions and everything, you know?
It's like-
Mike, anything? You're back in,
We're sorry, Bob. Bob, you did it. You were right.
This is why we didn't see it, because, so Jenna, just so if you get a close-up of that, that's
Yeah.
Jeb shirtless in a sauna. So
Listen, I haven't been in a sauna in a couple months, and it was really tough to sit in there. Normally I'm in there for an hour, and I was in there for like 30 minutes, and I was ready to be done. So
Jeb,
You happen to have a photographer in there? Why was there a photographer in there?
no, that was just me. I just snapped it quick, put it out, and then everybody and their mom started commenting on it. I was like, okay, that was a big mistake. And then you knuckleheads had to send it to the chat. So
how bad does Meg bust her chops? How bad does she, when Meg sees these pictures, does she bust her chops about it?
no, she just laughs. She's like,
Yeah.
she's so used to it. My kids, on the other hand, they keep me grounded. I will never be too good because my kids will let me know that I'm just dad. So
hey, look, man, the guy's gym was closed for like a month and a half. If he had to turn to softcore porn to pay the bill,
No.
like, it's cool, man. I got your back, Jeb. I'm also
some of the guys at the gym legit
I'm
were saying
the-
that, and they were saying some pretty nasty things. And I'm like, all right, just keep it coming. It's all good. I'm just trying to get fans. That's all I'm trying to do for this damn
Yeah,
show.
We appreciate it.
We need it. We need fans. We need fans. Okay. All right. We need just people to to listen, tune in, and to, you know, that we're just like every other little group out there of people that know each other. All right. I mean, like, you know, we just happen to live in different places, and, you know, we've all been to the, you know, the highest part of the sport, but these groups go on in your gym, all of them. Okay. All right. You know, they just do, you know, and it's a cool thing, I think. But, you know, Clint, your gym is open today.
First day.
Today's the first day. So,
Oh, wow.
yeah, we're still closed actually, you know, but, so how did it go? You know, like, again, I know you're not one of the owners there, but we do know one of the owners really close, Bill Malcolm, who I'd love to get on the show, quite frankly, because he's freaking hilarious and
You had
OG
to,
CrossFitter.
you had to sign up for the classes, limit of 10.
That's by the state. The state dictated that.
It's by, I don't know the exact number, but whatever their number is, they're limiting it to 10. So I think it's based on capacity or
Like
size.
square footage.
I think so, but it's like 25 or 30% of whatever your capacity is. So you got to sign up. So like I was telling Jen before, so if it's 6 or less, no mask. So if you're 14 feet apart, you don't have to wear a mask. But if it's 6 or more, you have to literally work out with a mask on, which seems ridiculous to me. I mean, I can't get enough air in as it is, let alone have a mask on.
Right.
Right.
So
I mean, the question to that is that were there 6 more people? I mean, like, was that what the situation, you know, I mean, do they give you any guidance? Like, hey, if we come to your building and see that, I obviously you don't probably know. I'm not sure what you know, but we're just curious because you live closer to home. I mean, closer to, you know, where me.
I don't know. I think somebody would have to call and complain.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think they're doing spot checks, but you know, you never know. But I mean, I don't think any of the classes I do open gym, so it only had 6 people. So
Right.
Hey,
Jen, you I'm sorry,
I
go
was
ahead,
just
Jen.
gonna ask for those of you that are owners in open, how is your memberships? For example, like we're down probably 40-45%. Yeah.
Wow.
So
We maintained just about everyone. We lost maybe 2 in the end. And our membership has really picked up. We've gained at least 10 people in the last month. So ours is really picking up.
good for you.
Yeah, we've
Awesome.
At the very beginning, we limited our classes to 8 people. I mean, we've been going through setting out all the equipment, wiping down in between, all that good stuff. When Florida went to phase 2, we started letting 10 people into class, which, I mean, we still have plenty of space. We're just trying to be super cautious. It's definitely, there's been several gyms that have had to close down due to COVID cases, and they've done sanitizing and all that kind of thing. So I'm just, fingers crossed that it doesn't come through our doors, but it is what it is.
Jen
Did
said,
you hear? Did you
Right,
hear
go ahead,
that Miami is and
Yeah.
Dade County is closing gyms again?
Jeb, are they talking about a resurgence by you too? Kind of like, there's
there's
I
all
heard
kinds
Wisconsin.
there's rumors going around, like, like everywhere, like things are going to get worse again. So, but I mean, a lot of the members that we lost are people that have lost their jobs, or, some of them were definitely ones that were just kind of on the fence. But, and then I have some, because we limit classes, like I can't go any bigger than 18 people, because that's the amount of machines I have. So everybody's got their own machines and everything. So we've lost some people because they can't get in the classes that they want. So every week we go through and tell the members, or we post like how many spots there were available at those time slots. Like 5 a.m. is like full all the time, 6 a.m. But at nighttime, there's a lot of availability. On any given week, there's still about 110 to 120 available spots in classes. But some people are really good about choosing different classes, but some people, they want a certain class, that's it. If they don't get it, and so we get emails saying, if I can't get into that class, you're going to lose my membership. And it's, so it was awesome, and I don't want to complain, because we're open, right? Like that's awesome. But yeah, we gotta, as a gym owner, we got to make some decisions here, because we're down quite a bit.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, like, you're open, but what does that really mean? I mean, they're talking about doing, in-house dining at 25%. Well, what is that really? Like, I mean, how can you really survive, and be able to pay your employees and do these things? So even though you get the open status, I mean, Bill's doing 6 to 10 people. I mean, that's not sustainable at, probably under $200 a month, which is probably, I don't know what they're paying, obviously, but still, so it does really make it a challenge from a model. I know from my perspective, we lost some people. We picked up some like Zoom people, all right. We're still not open. But one of the things that I personally think that needs to kind of happen is, I'm looking into like outside personal trainers that are looking for a space. I have like a front space that I can put a rig. I'm also, I also have privates that I can do too as well, so I think moving towards more type of, maybe like small, specific, maybe you don't want to, maybe Steve doesn't want to pay $30 to do a gymnastics course, but you know what? He spends $10 and 4 of his friends do it with like somebody, and the trainer gets $40, or the gym, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's creative ways to get personal training in there, because I mean, I don't know, we hire Swish Stack. He comes out to our gym and people love it, and he, I think it works out well, and the people get a great value for it. Right. And it's not like $200 to do one of these things, for the regular member, they don't have that kind of money. So we're thinking about trying to get like a whole personal training side of it, to go on while my main classes are on, just to maximize earning potential,
Yeah, Justin, we've done that, and it's worked out really well.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
and you're Bob Jennings. Who wouldn't want to train with you? You know what I'm saying? I mean,
no, not with me, man. Nobody wants to train with me. But like we, before COVID actually even started, like there are, personal trainers in the area that need space. And our gym is pretty big for Southern California, right? It's like 8,000 square feet. And then, typically during the day, half the gym isn't even being used.
Right.
And so, like we had a couple of personal trainers in there, you know, before COVID, and then after, like we brought in this one guy who he does like a CrossFit light, you know, kind of boot campy type thing, and he has his own clientele, and he just pays us rent, you know, and he kind of does his own thing over there, and it works out pretty well, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dead space that it's like dead space and dead time that just getting eaten up by our overhead, and so putting something against that at least kind of works. But we had our membership's down too, Jeb, and it's largely because we're so close to Camp Pendleton, and we have a lot of Marines that come in. And what happened during COVID is, like, typically what will happen is guys will get sent out on deployment, but new guys will come in. So we kind of have this like cycle of people. And what was happening was people were getting sent on deployment and nobody was coming in, you know? But since we've opened, we've probably added 10-ish new members in a couple of weeks. So
yeah, we stopped new members. We had some people reach out and they want to start. We wanted to take care of our current members. So we just opened up actually last week to new members coming in. And we have 5 people, I believe 4 or 5, but that's our goal this week we have staff meetings on Friday. Like, so I told the guys last week, like, let's come up with some creative ways to you know, bring some more money in. So we used to do like 6-week challenges, and we used to do like a kids camp. And we would do like one day, you know, seminars, same, like, you know, invite people in and host a seminar for the day. So we got some ideas. We just got to start doing some other stuff. But yeah, it's, you know, again, I don't want to complain because, you know, at the end of the day, we're open.
New York right now, outdoors only, that happened today. I don't know if you guys know Charlie Cassara, but he's got about 2,000 gym members across New York filing a class action lawsuit against the state to get gyms opened. I mean, I guess it worked a little bit because we're finally open outside. But Kurt, what are you guys doing right now with your gym? Do you have open space there or no?
We talked about, like, because we have a parking lot. So we're like, all right, today we could work out outside, but all of our equipment's out with the members. So we're like, well, have parking lot workouts, but, you know, and our members kind of right now, we go to a park in town and they bring their equipment, they work out. They like that setup better. And truthfully, I think if we were to be like, hey, we could do in the parking lot, then I think we got to offer the full like 10 to 12 classes a day if we're going to ask for all the equipment back. But if we leave them, you know, that we still give them the Zoom, we have 2 to 3 times a day outside at a local park. And they just bring the equipment based on what the workout is. So I don't know. We just got to open up though. We're dying. Like
most of California got shut down again over July 4th weekend, but San Diego didn't. So like all the surrounding counties did. San Diego County stayed open, and so all that meant was that like everybody from fucking LA and Orange County and Riverside and
come to you
that I don't, you know, really care to go to, all came down to San Diego to go to the beach this weekend, right?
for sure.
And my biggest fear is that now all of a sudden San Diego is going to spike and they try and close us down. I don't think I could fucking deal with having to, like, I don't think we'll do it. And I don't think we'll give out equipment again and like close down. I think we'll just say fuck it and just stay open and deal with whatever the consequences are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, for us, we were like on track. Everything was going like, okay, we're flattening the curve and all the buzzwords, you know, and, you know, Florida were reporting and Arizona and a couple other states. And the governor was just like, hey, you know, we're going to pull things back. I mean, 2 days before they were going to do in-house dining, they pulled it back. Like people bought all this extra stuff and told their staff and, you know, to come back on. And 2 days before, he's just like, no, I don't feel good about it. And so,
well, I was in Manhattan on July 4th, and I can tell you right now that I knew it was bad when things were going to be shut down, but I didn't realize just how bad it is. I mean, I'd say 90% of the city is still shut down. I mean, that's how Manhattan
What
is.
what are the cases like? Because I mean, in New Jersey, and I mean, it's you can't really say anything. You got to be just, you don't want to see anybody pass away. You just don't want to see that. But I mean, we don't have a huge amount of cases anymore. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not. That's why they put these people in place there to make these decisions, because they're not easy. I don't think it's a win for anybody in any way. You say yes and open up, and more people get sick, and you're screwed. You say,
Well, they just said in Florida we had a record day today, and I heard it on the news. It was like, we just had a record day today. It's now just like it was in New York, but it's in Florida now. Yeah, that's what they said.
It was worse than the one day and any one day in New York.
Oh, really?
But how many people are dying? That's
Right.
I
mean,
think
how many
it's
people are
like
getting
1% if you're in your 30s and 15% if you're in your 80s, and varying degrees from there. So it's still a pretty small percentage.
yeah,
Very,
I mean,
very small.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's tough on everybody. I mean, whether you're open or you're closed and waiting to open, and then once you open, you got a whole can of worms because everybody's trying to get into one class. Look, I used to have those arguments with members all the time. Even if you had a class now, and you're like, "Well, I have to come at 5 o'clock." Well, you're not going to work, right? There's nothing to do. Like this is now the time you can come whenever you want. So yeah, it's always a challenge. They want to come with their friends, and I get it. It's a community aspect. That's a big part about it. It's what we're selling, quite frankly, and to try to take it away in a sense is like so tough. So I get that, but yeah, it's definitely challenging times. I don't know what else I got on the agenda here. Anybody got anything important I need to bring up here?
Mike, how's the MFC going?
Me?
Aren't you doing
I got 3 of the 4 workouts done. Right now, number 1, but I'm the only one that's posted my scores because I'm just throwing them in there.
When is that supposed to be? Is that the end of this month?
No, I don't even know. I think it's in August. I don't know.
It's in August. Yeah, it's the end of August.
Oh,
I got the Legends qualifier to deal with in August. So, yeah, this is my tune-up. I got my 2-rep max thruster, 240. I got buried by 250 on the 2nd rep. So I got a couple more days. Maybe I'll try that again. And then I did the one that has one that ends with bar muscle ups. I did that one today. So
Bob, are me and you the only ones that signed up for that Teen Masters Championship?
I think so, man.
I
I was just about to ask about that. That's the online thing? Is it past the date to sign up already?
I don't know. Yeah, you could probably
it's early
still get
August.
No, it's late. It's the last Thursday of July. But one of the things I did like what they did is they sent you an equipment list. They told you what you're gonna need. They told you that you're gonna have to tape a 15 by 15 area, and this is kind of gonna be the setup layout. So I thought that was pretty helpful.
Yeah.
Bob, obviously, you're running Legends and stuff like that. But from an athlete standpoint, to understand like, hey, I'm gonna need a sandbag or I'm gonna need this. Yeah. I think it definitely helps. I think it definitely does.
Yeah, for sure. We're gonna steal that idea. And those guys got it from Rogue. Yeah. That's where that all came from. So, it's necessity is the mother of invention, right? So.
That's why you're the smart one, Bob. I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's a fucking.
We should have just faded to black. Once Bob said that, just fade to black the video.
We should just drop the mic. Just drop it.
That is a low fucking bar we're setting right there.
Oh God. All right. Well, we try to keep this to an hour, but I don't know. I mean, I hope everything is, going well. I mean, I think we have anything lined up next week, Bob?
Oh shit. Probably.
Okay,
gotta
we'll
check.
work something out. What's going on with Castro? What's going on with these people?
Castro's fucking, he's ghosting me. So is the new guy. I thought next week we were gonna do the
Any?
regular member guy.
Okay, I'm down with that. You guys got anybody you can bring on?
So what are we exactly looking for in
Just-
that?
A person who gets excited about the Open, okay, all right, and looks forward to it each year with, you know, the attitude, and it could range. You could get the people that are fighting for a qualifier spot. You can, you know, take, you know, whoever you want, you know. I mean, they don't have to be, to me, they don't have to be someone trying to get to the games. It's more of, you know, a representation of what a lot of your members are like to do the Open, like to, you know, maybe do a local competition, do a team one with a friend. Maybe they get kind of, you know, goaded into doing another competition, like do this one with me, and you go have a couple of beers and stuff, and do one of those like, you know, charity events or something like that. It's just kind of like your regular member who likes to enjoy all the parts of like the competitive side, even though they kind of realize that, you know, they're not going to go to the games.
Okay. I'll find someone for my gym for sure.
Yeah, I know a guy that would do it. You know, he's pretty excited about like stuff like that. He's got all the gear. You know the guy. He's like dressed up before class even starts. You know, he's got his fingers on.
That guy?
I can't see. Oh yeah. He's got his fingers on. He still picks up the PVC. You know, when you first start out, a couple pass-throughs. They just came back from level 1, couple pass-throughs. You know, but that's about it. I don't know, guys. I got nothing else. So anybody got anything important?
Nah.
Nope.
Now's
Hey,
the
Jenna,
time.
thanks for joining us. And
Thanks, Jenna.
Absolutely. It's been fun, guys. Nice meeting all y'all.
We'll post that workout, and I'll put up the link tree both. And Swishstack, you can throw Bob Jennings under the bus about the reason why we're releasing 2 episodes in one day.
I got it.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
guys.
Good night.
Good luck with your sponsors, or our sponsors, Bob.
You think he would announce it on this, but he won't.
Yeah, listen.
We can't even scoop anything.
I didn't sign. The deal isn't signed yet, man. I'm not going to go out there and announce something that isn't signed.
Well, stop
Stop
recording.
recording.
Stop recording.
Stop the recording. You're among friends here. It's got to be like Rose.